Hey guys, welcome to the Magfed Ranch Paintball channel, and today I'm going to be doing another episode of We Need This Now, or what I also like to call it as, Take Our Money Already. But before I get into it guys, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, share, and comment. Alright, let's get in. Guys, what we need now, right, or we need this now, is more optic options, but specifically Crossbow Scope optic options. Okay guys, now why do I say that? Obviously we have our red dots, right? We can probably even use holographic sights like the EOTech if we wanted to, right? But the reason why we need scope specific and not just having to use these crossbow scopes, we want paintball FSR specific scopes, right? So real quick, let's delve into. I'll touch on the crossbow scopes real quick, guys. So obviously through kind of just user testing, Magfed players out there that have tried it, and obviously this knowledge just kind of passed through the internet, we found that the crossbow bolt's trajectory is very similar to a FSR trajectory. Assuming that the feet per second is the same, okay? The problem though, however, of course, is that a crossbow bolt is going to weigh way more than just your, small FS round, right guys? I mean, FS rounds, we're talking about, in grains, whereas the bolts are probably, at least, I would assume in ounces, right? So a huge difference in weight. And so with that weight, of course, is going to come momentum. Right, and so that crossbow bolt is going to be able to carry and hold that momentum over a further distance than our FS rounds. Okay, so as good as our crossbow, just your hunting crossbow scopes are, now they work with the FS rounds. They're not 100% one-to-one when it comes to the reticle holds that are in the scopes, right? The reticles were tested upon a crossbow bolt. And so, the 50, 60 yard hold, and this is really true about the longer distance holds, guys, right? Because at the shorter distance hold, luckily, the FSR, because it's rifled, it spins, it maintains its velocity over a further distance. At like 40, 50 yards, the hold is still relatively 1-for-1. But as you start reaching out to the further distances, 80, 90, 100 yards, that momentum loss because of the weight, the FS round isn't going to follow the same trajectory. And so the holds are not exactly, the same. And so you might need to hold the reticle a little bit higher on the crossbow scope to get the FS round to hit the target where you want it to, right? So, the 100 yard hold might not be at 100 yards for an FS round, where it might be, where it will be exactly for a crossbow bolt, okay? And of course, just real quick, I have 3 different crossbow scope here for you guys, just to kind of basically show you what's out there. We have a fixed crossbow scope. And of course, like I said, these guys, these type of scope, crossbow scope guys, is literally just a fixed magnification, whether it's a 3x or a 4x. The key though is that you select a scope, and when you go to order it, just make sure that you know what feet per second those scopes, the fixed magnification scopes, were tested at or set at. Right, this one's set at 300 psi, 300 feet per second, guys. So this matches our first strike Magfed markers, right? These two guys are variable power scopes. But the thing about crossbow scopes is that the variable speed is pretty much related to the magnification, right? And so whatever feet per second that you need to set the scope at is going to be what the magnification is going to be set at. So those two things are not independent. And because obviously we need to set the speed at 300 feet per second, right? Or a hair under 300 feet per second. If you want to, really, set your dial in with your FPS on your marker, the magnification, it's not going to change. You can't use all the different magnification settings that the variable speed scopes have. So typically that's going to be either a 2x magnification or like a 2.5 magnification with the Hawk crossbow scope, guys. Okay, so guys, that's basically kind of the crossbow scopes that we have out there. And so what we need now is a paintball specific scope, right? A scope that is designed to follow, with a reticle, and of course with a magnification feature that is designed for our first strike rounds. Okay, and I get it, guys. Before I go further, I know a lot of you guys are screaming out there, at the screen. Carmatech has one, right? Carmatech has their Supremacy scope, right? My problem with that scope, guys, not to say that I think it's a bad scope or anything like that, but we only have that one option, and it's like 400 plus, right? It's $400 more. And so, like I was trying to tell you guys, like I'm trying to find more options for us out there that are $200 or less. Okay, and all these scopes that I have here that are made for the crossbows are $200 or less. Okay, and I know why the price difference, guys. I've looked into the Supremacy scope from Carmatech. One, it's a first focal plane scope instead of a second focal plane scope. Okay, guys. So real quick, a first focal plane scope is going to be the reticle is going to obviously adjust with the magnification. Okay, and so in essence, what they do is they put the reticle behind the magnification adjustment. Okay, and so as you adjust the magnification, the reticle size is going to change as well. Okay, and so at a 5x magnification, your reticle is going to appear, and it's gonna it's gonna change size, and the holds are going to coincide at those distances. It's gonna match one for one with that magnification. A second focal plane scope, unfortunately, they're gonna put it obviously behind the adjustment. Okay, and so what's going to happen there is as you go to magnify, zoom in and out, the reticle doesn't change. Okay, so the reticle pretty much stays the same. Okay, guys, and so there's going to be a cost savings with the two features. So the second focal plane scopes are not going to be as expensive as the first focal plane scope. Okay, guys. And so since the Supremacy scope is a first focal plane scope, that's the reason for the cost, which I get, right? It's going to have this feature that the reticle that it uses for its different holds out to, I believe it's 150 yards to you guys. It's going to be accurate, and it's not going to change. And so it's going to really, dial in, pretty much what you're aiming at is going to be accurate at those distances. Okay. The other cool feature about the Supremacy scope that I've looked into is that obviously it has pretty much a distance gauge built into the reticle, right? And so it has like these little circles, and based upon if your target's goggles, its mask, which I think is kind of a pretty cool, sick feature, right? Like you're aiming for the head of your opponent, and depending on if that mask, fits inside that circle or not, that's the distance at which your target is at. So, kind of a cool feature with the Supremacy scope. But the one thing I don't like about the reticle on that scope is that, as cool as all those features are, it's too busy. One, and of course, it's more meant as a sniper scope. Right? It's not meant for fast acquisitions, right? It's meant for I have the time to take the shot. I'm gonna put, you know, the different circles on my target's head, and of course, once I determine at that distance, then I can take the shot. And don't get me wrong, guys. I mean, just those features alone are going to make it faster than your, you know, your red dot, or if you didn't have the scope, right? So it's going to make you faster in that respect, but it's not going to be as fast as, I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's not going to be as fast as a crossbow reticle, where it's literally, okay, I have my 20-yard hold, you know, crosshair, I have my 30, my 40, my 50. All I got to do is just adjust it up. Now, obviously, there's something to be said about the distance factor, right? Now it has this gauge that you can factor in the distance, but the crossbow scopes has that as well. They have it with brackets, right? Pretty much brackets that are predetermined to be a certain amount of inches. And so the average shoulder width of a man is like 17, 18 inches, right? And so if you use the 16-inch brackets that the crossbow scope's reticle has, which were designed for, of course, like, you know, deer or like, you know, animal targets, right, guys? But 16 inches is still pretty close to 17, 18 inches. You can use those brackets to pretty much gauge the distance at which your target is at. And of course, like, you know, it's just a head versus a shoulder width, okay, guys? And so, like I said, there's kind of pros and cons to each system. The crossbow scope, I think, is, you know, just a faster acquisitioned reticle. But of course, the cons is that it doesn't really have a reticle designed for the first strike's trajectory. And of course, you know, it doesn't have as many distance gauging, brackets as the Supremacy scope has, right? And of course, the Supremacy scope, of course, but costs us a lot more. You know, that's the key. The crossbow scopes are a lot more affordable, half the price, right? This one I think I got for like right around $150, guys, right? So, you know, a third of the price. So what we need, like I said, is a affordable option, FS, specific scope, where we can actually have magnification, right? Use the magnification. And of course, the reticle is user-friendly. You know, I'm thinking something like almost kind of like the Aurora ACSS reticle on the ACOGs, right? Or from like Primary Arms, guys. Something that like, it has like a distance bracketing feature. And then of course it has like the different holds, for the different distances once you're able to gauge the distance at what your target is at. Okay, guys? So guys, that's what we need now. That's what they would take my money if they had it, for our markers. Guys, if you guys like that video, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Check you guys next time.